Hello, viewers. Welcome to the Science Chef Academy Television. Today, we'll be speaking with one of the top scorers in the 2023 JAMB UTME. She got above 300, precisely about 340 something, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And she's currently a student of Nile University studying computer engineering. So she'll be sharing with us some of her success tips that made her succeed in last year's JAMB UTME. Okay, before we delve into our discussion tonight, let's go on a short break. Welcome back. Please join me in welcoming Halima Unigemo to the Science Chef Academy. Hello, Halima.
Hi, Science Chef. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, without wasting much time, may we know you?
Good evening, sir. Hi, my name is Halima Onigemo Oluwafunilayo. I am currently 17 years old. I'm a Yoruba. And I was a student of the Ambassadors College. I am a top scorer of the JAM UTME, having a score of 342. And I'm currently pursuing a bachelor's degree in computer engineering in Nanyang University. Yes, that's basically it.
Wow, that's wonderful. Okay, can you take us through your academic journey, though you have done a bit of that in your introduction?
Okay. What I understand by a journey is basically the amount of time you have spent in going from your current location to your destination. So I think I would say that my academic journey started when I was in GS1 to SS3. Yeah. Or I think more importantly, SS1 to SS3. So from SS1 to SS3, I attended the Ambassadors College, yeah. And at first, it wasn't easy. Regardless of the school I was in, it wasn't easy. I was in the science department because that's where my passion lied. So one thing about me is that I'm very passionate about learning. I don't really care about the exams I write all the time. It's more of what knowledge I'm gaining. So I just don't study because I have an exam. I study because I want to learn. I study because learning gives me joy. I study because learning is like exploring a new world. Just all of that knowledge is really interesting to me, and I find pleasure in spending my time to get as much information as I can from different textbooks. It could be A level, it could be O level. So far, I can satisfy my curiosity. That's just one thing about me. So I think what really makes me different from others is just that my passion for learning, my passion for knowledge, the fact that I'm always hungry for understanding things, I'm always hungry to know more. So that's basically the foundation. In all of the subjects I did, I was always a curious person. I feel like all my teachers knew me because I was always disturbing them with questions I had. I always wanted to know the answers. I always wanted to understand concepts that were hard or difficult or things that were not really clearly stated in textbooks. I always wanted to understand them. Sometimes I would go to A level advanced textbook just to make sure that I get as much information as possible. And they were all, it wasn't like a burden. It wasn't like as if I was doing it because I wanted to be the best. It was more of like I was doing it because I really enjoyed it and it gave me a lot of joy. Because I was in a boarding school and it was my first time. So it was difficult. So one thing that gave me joy throughout that boarding school was just knowledge and the passion I had for it. Thank you.
Wow, that's quite lengthy. Okay, my next question, I think you already answered my next question, how you study for your exams in
Exam.
your last
Okay.
explanation. I don't know if you still want to have anything to say.
Yes, yes. I think I was really talking generally. Of course, there is more detail than that. Yeah, there's more detail than that. Okay, how did I study for my exams? Okay, first thing, you need to find resources. Resources is one of the things you should get. You need to find your resources. You need to have a plan. You need to have a schedule. So those are the three things that were like the foundation of my study. So
Okay.
my resources were usually textbooks, past questions, YouTube videos. Although I was in a boarding school, I didn't really have access to that. But whenever I went home and did have access to internet at home, I would always watch videos that would help increase my understanding. YouTube videos, online articles, basically even quizzes, because that quizzes that people do online can also do that. We don't have extra classes, extra lessons. So those are resources. Resources basically are things that would give you the knowledge you need to pass down. I will give you, okay, the information you need to answer the questions. Those are resources. Then the next thing is this plan. The plan is, okay, what am I going to do to make sure I get a 97 in this subject? What am I going to do to make sure that I get a 95 or 100 in this subject? That is your plan. So your plan is basically like step by step. Okay, for the first to get, for example, now I always plan my day. I always plan. Okay, my plan basically is that, okay, if I have 1 month to jump, if I have 2 months to jump, 2 months is basically 60 days or 30 days. So I know, okay, for the first 10 days, I'll make sure I have finished Lamlad. For this second day, for the next 10 days, that's 20 days, I'll make sure I have finished or this textbook or this topic or this set of topics. So I know that, okay, I needed to complete some things. I needed to finish my resources before the exam. So that was my plan. My plan was basically laying out everything I needed to do to make sure that I finished those resources. So the next thing was scheduling. Scheduling is basically planning your whole day. So I already had a plan for the next 2 months. I knew how I was going to, okay, I knew how many days it would take to finish a particular topic or a particular textbook or a particular past question. I knew how many days it would take. So I usually planned it out. So for that first day, okay, if that was a Monday, I knew that, okay, today, Halima, you're doing this topic in Lamlad, you're doing this topic in new school chemistry, you're doing this year in your past question, you're doing this, or you're teaching this person. Because, of course, if you have knowledge, you always have to share that kind of thing. So I always plan my day. I never wasted time. Every hour was documented, every minute was documented, every break was documented. I knew that, okay, I need to take 20 minutes break to do something. I would always plan every single thing. When I would sleep, and I would hopefully wake up, everything. If you can manage time, that's one of the most important skills you can have in this world. Time management. It's very difficult to achieve, but if you have that, it's very valuable, honestly. So I always scheduled. And you need one thing about passing exams that you need to have the right resources. People say, oh, I study a lot, but it doesn't mean you're using the good textbooks. It doesn't mean you're using the right past questions. It doesn't mean you're watching the right videos. Whenever I was at home, yeah, because I also had responsibilities at home, obviously. I had my parents to help. You have chores and everything, but like, okay, I know that, oh, by this time to this time, I'm studying. And when I'm studying, I'm using the first 30 minutes to watch, oh, Science Chef Academy, something like that. The next 30 minutes to watch this thing. Because I always schedule my time. So I feel like the basic things you need to do. Number one is resources. Number two is planning. And number three is scheduling. So yeah. So even if I had 40 years of past questions to do, if I did one every day, I would finish it eventually. I'll finish the past question book. But if I didn't have much time, let's say I had only 1 month to jam, I would double it. I may do 2 years every day. So 15 days or 17 days, I would be done with everything. So that's basically how I did. So I made sure that before jam had finished all my textbooks, had finished Lamlad, had finished all my past question resources. Yeah, that's it.
Wow, amazing. What I was able to pick from what you just said is the effective time management. Effective time
Yes,
management,
effective
and
time.
which has to do with your planning and your scheduling of the activities that you
Yes.
tend to do during the period you're preparing for the exams. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Wait, also I should add that you need to be disciplined because it's one thing to plan and it's one thing to follow the plan. It's one thing to schedule and it's another thing to follow the schedule. So if you know that you have 1 hour to do something, you need to make it as effective as possible. No distractions, no playing anything. Just get a quiet place or somewhere avoid of distractions and make sure you use that time well. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Halima, for that insight. You told us that you're studying computer engineering, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, one thing I've come to realize or observe is that students have this problem of choosing the right subject combinations for their JAMB examination, right? So what informed your subject combinations for your own exams?
Okay. Normally, you're meant to choose the subjects that align with your career path.
Okay.
So the most important thing is actually being able to identify what career path you want to go to. And what will make you know the career path you want to follow is your passion. You need to go through a journey that will make sure you understand what your passion is. Your passion has to be something that it may be science art or anything, just that you need to make sure that the path you're going through will help you make an impact in the world. You need to be able to choose a career path that you know that you wake up every day to and you smile. Even though it's hard, you smile because you love that. It's basically part of your life, and you can't imagine your life without that particular career path because it's what you love. That's what passion means. So you need to go through a journey to identify that. It took me 2 years to identify what I was truly passionate about. And every day I discover new things that I'm curious about. I discover new things I'm passionate about. So I know that okay, one thing about me, I always joke that I'm going to spend a lot of time in university because I'm very passionate about a lot of things and I'm chasing everything. Because there's time, hopefully, and God has given me the strength and the passion to chase as much things as I want to. So the most important thing about choosing your subject combination is identifying your career path, and how to do that is identifying your passion. Just once you identify your passion, okay, no, mom, I want to be a computer engineer, mom, I want to be an architect, mom, I want to be a mathematician. Just once you identify something that when you know that when you wake up to every day, you smile, and even though it's hard, you want to keep going because you love it. That's your passion. So once you do that, subject combination shouldn't be hard. There are advisors in most schools. You can find advisors online that can help you choose the best subjects that will align with your passion or your career. There's even like I think on the JAMB website itself, there is a place that shows you your combinations for a particular career. So far you shall know the career path you want to go through and that you're passionate about it, then you should be fine. Yes.
Wow. Thank you. That's quite interesting. All right. Now, of course, there's no success without challenges.
Yes, yes,
Am I right? And you must have
yes, sir.
gone through series of challenges before you could achieve that feat of scoring 342 in last year's JAM. So can you share with us those challenges that you faced and how you overcame them?
Okay. Challenges that I faced. I can't lie, they obviously there were challenges. The one thing was making my studying as effective as possible. Because it's it's one thing to be able to manage time and it's one another thing to do it very well. Even though I had that skill, I was still always improving it. So one thing was time. One thing was time. I can't lie because we had classes and after classes we would still have to study and then sleeping, my health. So I had to strike a balance between sleeping enough and being healthy and studying because there's sometimes that I would sacrifice my time for studying so that I would sacrifice my time for sleeping so I can study, and none of that is healthy. You need to be able to strike a balance so that you wake up in the morning, go to class, and you will learn. There's no point going to class and you're sleeping and then you're not getting anything, or there's no point when you're trying to study and your eyes won't let you because you're so tired, you're so exhausted. So you need to learn how to. My problem was my balancing my time and my health because I didn't want to compromise my health for my studies because when I was in SS1, I sacrificed so much time. I was always reading that I got sick. And that's when I knew how much how much study could take a toll. So I feel like for the remaining SS1, SS3, I always make sure that I would never compromise my health again. So I feel it's sleeping enough and then reading enough. So I think yeah, that was a problem for me. But I got through it. I got through it. I think how I did that was I also planned. I planned. I made sure I slept. If I needed to sleep, I would sleep for an hour. When I wake up, I would feel rejuvenated. I would feel way better. Then I continue studying. But if I felt tired, I made sure that I slept. Right? I didn't want to compromise my health. And then another thing is that I always plan my time. I always schedule. So I make sure that if I plan to sleep by 12 p.m., I make sure that I've studied enough. You get so that nothing would stop me from staying awake. I will make sure that I've studied enough before that 12 p.m. Then wake up because my body, the way I am, everybody's body differs. When I sleep 5 hours, it's like my body has fully charged. So 5 hours is like the amount of time I really need to feel rested. So I wake up 5 a.m., pray, and then continue everything. Just make sure that my remaining time that I'm awake, I'm as effective as possible. And the second thing that was a problem for me, I didn't really have much. Okay, yeah. The second thing, the academic challenge I actually had was that I didn't cover all the topics I needed to. In chemistry, in physics, I didn't cover everything I needed to before I wrote the jam. So not only learning a new topic, but still trying to solve questions on them and everything. And I don't want to. The teachers were busy as well, so I had to find a way to do it myself and still be able to teach others as well. Teaching others also was a challenge because I was sacrificing my time for studying to teach others, but I'm someone that doesn't hoard knowledge. I make sure that I share. If I know something, I share it. And I think that's a very important thing in the world. You don't keep what God has blessed you with to yourself. Because even if you're an intelligent person, make sure others feel your impact. Make sure that yes, oh my God, this person really helped me, and then you made a difference in that person's life because you have the ability to. If you're intelligent, don't keep it to yourself. Always make sure they can help someone, but not to the extent that you won't read though. Like balance it. You should share with balance basically. Then that period was Ramadan, which is the Muslim spiritual holiday. Have you saying Ramadan? It was the Muslim spiritual
Fasting
month,
period.
yeah. And not everybody knows what Ramadan is. So I was fasting from because the time normally is from dawn to dusk. So I was fasting from basically 5 to 7 or 6:40 or something like there's a time, it's just 6:47. So I was fasting from 5 a.m. to then. So I was fasting, attending classes, reading, sleeping, making sure I had food to break my fast. So the Ramadan wasn't really a challenge, but it's whenever you go through a spiritual journey, honestly, you always get something in return. So like it wasn't really like a challenge or anything, but it was something that I know that I had to adjust my lifestyle for. So yeah, I think, but I didn't really face too much academic problems because I already perfected my studying pattern. I already perfected my system in SS1. So my system was flowing. I didn't really have any
Okay,
academic
well.
problems. The only problems I had during JAMB were other or like concerned with my lifestyle and other things. But like academically, yeah, I was set. I already had a system that worked for me. So just following that system was good enough for me to like achieve everything I needed to achieve before I went to JAMB. Yeah,
All right.
I think that's
So,
the problems I faced.
from what you said, what helped you overcome your challenges was having a system in place quite
Yes,
early,
it's,
right from your SS1, right? So that by the
yes,
time your schedule got choked up in SS2 and in SS3 particularly, the system you already
yeah,
put in place from SS1 was able to see you through those challenging times in
yeah,
SS3. All right.
yes.
Thank you very much. Our next question. Knowing that JAM is a computer-based test, how did you prepare for it?
Okay, I had the privilege of going to a school where there was a computer lab. There were like few computer labs. So the school I went to, they already had a system of preparing their students adequately. So we always had computers available, which had, I think my school CBT something. There was a software called My School that was already installed in the computers that would allow us to practice jam questions in a CBT sort of nature. So we would time ourselves. It was timed already. So I think the frequency of us using the laptops were like once each week. But as Jam did draw closer, we increased the frequency. So it was like twice a day we were going there just to practice. But I think before that, they wanted us to really know the answers before practicing our accuracy. So there's one thing for you to because one I think from the experience of other students, knowing how to really handle the computer is an important thing because you need to know the keys you're pressing. You need to be able to time yourself. I think timing was another thing. But what we students and the school worked on was getting knowledge first, getting the knowledge that would help us pass jam first. So we made sure that we did all the past questions and everything. So we got the knowledge. Then the time we started doing CBT was later on when jam was drawing close. What we wanted to achieve by doing CBT in the computers that were in the lab was basically to make sure that we had a high accuracy and they were able to time ourselves very well because it's one thing for you to know the answers and not be able to have enough time to really answer the questions. So we're working on our timing with the CBT computers in the lab. Sorry, with the computers in the lab, and then we're also working on understanding how the interface works. I wanted to know how the questions would look like on the computer screen. I wanted to know how would easily input our answers. So for the frequency was basically once a week, but as jam did draw closer, we increased it to twice a day. So I think that's how we prepared, but we still make sure we had the knowledge first. That's the most important thing. Then CBT, I think practicing on a laptop helps you achieve a higher accuracy and also time yourself properly and know how the questions would look like on the JAMB screen so that you know what to expect. That you won't go there and feel nervous or anything. You already know that okay, I've gone through this, I can do this. So it gave us a confidence boost and we're able to time ourselves and know the risks that we're applying to a computer. We made sure we didn't mistakenly press the X button that would remove us from the exam or something else. So yeah, I think that's how we prepared, knowing that it was a CBT exam.
Okay. All right. So from what I got from your explanation means you didn't just concentrate on one aspect of your preparation. You didn't just look at the CBT alone or practicing with a hard copy of the past questions alone. You balance both ends, right? You first of all understood the concept, you got the knowledge before trying to perfect your CBT skills using a CBT software, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. So next question is
So also, so also, so
yes,
also, I feel like registering for the mock exam
yeah,
done by JAM body itself is very important because going to the location and really getting the experience is important. So like it eases your nerves, it makes you less nervous because you've already gotten something similar to the experience. Like because JAM always organizes a mock exam for all of the candidates. So
yeah.
far you register for it. So I think doing that is very important as well. Like you shouldn't undermine the importance of doing that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. How did you handle questions that had similar answers, given that JAM is a technical exams? It's not like
Yeah.
your wire question that you can easily use elimination method to pick the answer to an unknown question or an unfamiliar question, right? But in JAM, when once you don't know the answer, you will see two or more answers looking similar, right? So how did you handle such
Yeah.
questions?
I think when I first started practicing for JAM, using the past question books and everything, that's when I started noticing how similar answers could be and how dangerous it is to pick the wrong one. Because I think practicing allowed me to adjust my thinking, adjust my reasoning, and adjust my thought process to the way JAM wants it to be, to a way that would make sure I pick the right answer. So I think it made me aware, it made me meticulous. I was very careful. A little difference between the two answers could literally make or break that score that you want.
Yeah.
I feel it should not be undermined. So I really appreciate asking the question because like I feel like every JAM student does face this problem. For subjects like chemistry, or I think for subjects like chemistry, that's where I really noticed that because chemistry was one of my favorite subjects, but at the same time, the difference between isobars and isotopes. uh, so I feel like you should just be very, very careful. JAM will make you careful. It will make you very meticulous. So I feel like every single time you're reading, pay attention to details. Most times we read, we don't pay attention to it. We're just like skimming. We are getting the knowledge, but we're not necessarily intensively reading. Pay attention to every word, every single thing. And if you feel like two answers are similar, always be up for a debate. Like meet your teachers, meet your peers, meet your classmates that you know are better than you, or just anybody that you know that would have that knowledge, or someone that is really enlightened in that subject. Meet your teacher. Sometimes they may not always be available. You have access to internet. Now there's AI like ChatGPT, there's Bing AI, there's Google Bard. You can have a discussion with them. Oh, so what do you think is different between this and this? What do you think the answer is? Why do you think this is the answer? Understand how they got the answer as well. I mean, like the AIs, because I do that sometimes. I do like, why do you think this is the answer? If you're confused, I'll be like, but for example, now, let me give a specific example. I'll just go straight to the point, but I want you to understand what I'm trying to say. So, like, for example, let's say detention in Europe, I assume that detention in Europe was 25, but Google is saying that, sorry, ChatGPT is saying it's 50. I would try and explain why I think it's 25. And if you give me its own explanation, then it will reason with me and tell me why I'm not correct. So I feel like the power of AI should not be underestimated. I did have that during my jam, but now that I'm in university, I find it very useful. So that's what I mean by resources. That's what I mean by resources. You should be able to, if you have access to internet, that is use it very well. So you can, so it will literally tell you why it's chose that answer and everything. If you don't have access to that, you can always meet your teachers. They are the best encyclopedias in this world. So, so if science, if I'm complimenting you, so they're the best working encyclopedias in this world. You can always meet them if they're not busy. Say that, sir, this is what I think. Why is my thought process wrong? Why isn't this the answer? You need to understand why you're wrong and not just getting the answer. Because people always do that and you always annoy me. I'm like, try to get the knowledge first. Don't just cram answers. Oh my god, people always do that. It was so annoying because they'll be like, no, JAMB always repeats questions. They will not cram the answers to the questions. I mean, fine if it works for you, but like at the same time, try to understand why that's the answer. Because one thing I love about JAMB is that they always give questions that will make you think critically. So they make you question all the knowledge you have for SS1, SS3. But it's a very interesting board exam, honestly. So I feel like be meticulous, pay attention to details. For questions that you feel are similar, always have discussions with your peers or your teachers or an AI. And if they give you a different answer, try and understand why yours is wrong. I feel like if you do that, eventually, with God's help, hopefully you will not get questions that have too many similar questions. But like with God's help, everything should be fine. But like that's just my own tip of handling questions that are like that. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's interesting. So in summary, be meticulous. Pay attention to details while you're reading, and don't be ashamed to ask your mates that are better than
Questions,
you.
yeah.
Then take the knowledge of your teachers, right? Take
Yeah.
advantage of their presence in school, right? Okay, thank you very much. Then
Yes.
this is another important question that intending JAMB candidates need to know. What do you think are the do's and don'ts on the exam day? Because it's one thing to prepare for the exam,
Okay.
right? And given that it's a CBT, which you don't
Yeah.
have control over, what would you advise the candidates or intending candidates to do or not do on the exams day?
The most important thing is to always be early for your exam. There's
Okay.
no point preparing for something and then you don't have the opportunity to write it. So always be early for your exam. Make sure you rest for the exam because from experience, you don't want to be in an exam hall and headache is stopping you from concentrating or sleep is stopping you from concentrating. Make sure you rest for the exam. Make sure you pray before the exam and make sure you get up early for the exam. After all that is done, those are the do's. There's still more do's. So when you're in your exam hall, make sure the first thing that you do is pray. Do not underestimate the power of prayer. That is one thing that my school taught me. Do not underestimate the power of prayer. So the first thing that you do is just pray. Because praying helps me calm down my nerves. It helps me breathe. It helps me, you know that the situation is under God's control, and anything that's under God's control is going to be good. So after you do that, then make sure you have a computer that is not malfunctioning. If you feel like the computer is malfunctioning, always alert the invigilator or the instructor, the authorities that are present in the hall. And before that, when you're doing your when you're doing your checking in, because before you enter the hall, there are authorities that will check your documents. So make sure your documents are complete and make sure you're patient and make sure you're not rude to them because that's just nobody appreciates rudeness. So make sure you have your documents that are complete. Make sure you have everything that will allow you to enter the hall. When you get there, check your computer. If you're sure it's not malfunctioning, then you're good to go. But make sure that if it's malfunctioning, you alert the authorities so that they'll do something about it. Make sure you do not sit down beside someone that is ready to put you in trouble because it's one thing to prepare for an exam, it's one thing for someone to be an agent of destruction. And if you feel like you're beside someone that wants to cheat or you're someone that makes you feel uncomfortable, it could be anybody. There are different types of discomfort. The discomfort could be someone who is asking you a question. The discomfort to someone could be someone who is sneezing all the time. Anything that will distract you from the exam, get rid of it. If it's possible to ask the authorities to change your seat or something, make sure you can do it or something like that. But anything that will distract you or put you in trouble or make them cancel your paper or your CBT, get rid of it because it's really not worth it. It's not worth it. Then another thing is to focus. Always make sure that you're focused. Always make sure that you're taking the right answers. Always make sure that you are timing yourself. You're watching the time. You're watching the time. Don't spend so much time on a question. I feel like every teacher has said this. Every teacher has said it, and it's really important. If you notice that time is going, don't spend too much time on the question. Make sure you answer as much questions as possible. And I think another important strategy is know your subject combination, meaning like you know your pattern. I always started with was it English? Yeah, I always start with English to calm my nerves, and then I knew that I could finish it well and fast enough, not too fast. Then I went next to was it physics or chemistry. Then I did math class because math was one of my biggest strengths, and I was a fast solver. So I knew that no matter the time, I would still finish. So I focused more on subjects that would make me critically think, and that was always chemistry and physics. So I put them in between. So I identify the combination that will make you be as effective as possible. Some people always started with math and ended in English. Some people started with chemistry. So it depends on your strengths or how you want to do it. But figure it out before the exam. As you practice, you figure out the subject that you need to do first and last and in between that will make you as fast as possible. I'll make you as accurate as possible. So I think that was really important as well. Then uh, I think that's most of it. That's most of it. They just leave the rest to God. Make sure you study before the exam enough, enough. So yeah, if you studied enough, if you have a system that will help you prepare adequately for the exam. When you, on that exam day, just follow everything I said and any other tips you have for yourself. Or like these are just my own tips. Just do every other thing, and I think after that everything should be fine. Yeah, you finish your exam and you'll be happy by God's grace.
Wow. Wow. Excellent and amazing. Now, so my take home from what you just said, go to your center early, right? Then avoid everything or anything that will distract you, right? On the exam day. Then
Yes.
be polite to the authority in charge, right? And then adhere to instructions. Don't go to the exam hall with contraband items, right?
Or something that can implicate you,
Or
yeah.
anything that can implicate you. All right. And above all, the God factor too, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, our next question: what was the influence of the Science Chef Academy on your performance?
If there's one thing I really appreciate about the Science Chef Academy was the graphics, honestly. There were some particular topics that if you don't really see how the molecules move or how the electrons move, you won't just understand it. And Science Chef really helped me with that difficulty. Don't dismiss something until you've tried it, until you've given an opportunity. Honestly, considering the fact that I was a very intelligent student, I always felt like I did not need to watch YouTube videos or something like that. But I can say that it did impact me when I actually tried watching it. I first did it to support my teacher, but eventually I fell in love with the channel, regardless of the owner or anything. I really did appreciate what he did. I feel like seeing everything really made an impact on me, and that's something that is significant in all of Science Chef Academy's videos. So yeah, thank you to Science Chef Academy because I can say it definitely did impact my score. Yeah, without it, I probably wouldn't have gotten 342 or my score in chemistry because I got a 92 in chemistry. So I
Wow,
don't
wow,
think I would have. I don't
wow,
think I would have gotten that without Science Chef Academy. So like,
wow.
yeah, I'm really
Th-
grateful.
Thank you. Thank you for your kind words. Would you
Yes,
recommend the Science Chef Academy to your friends?
of course.
Why?
Why not? If something helps me, I would definitely recommend. Like I said, if you have knowledge of something, do not hide it. If you know it will help people, always share it. So if I know that Science Chef helps me, I will always recommend it to others so that it will help them as well. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Halima. Would you like to tell us the breakdown of your scores?
Oh my
Then,
God.
yeah.
I've never told anyone this before. I feel like in my secondary school mates are watching this, they'll probably be laughing at me right now or something.
No, they will not. They will
I
not. Don't
never
worry.
agreed to tell
Don't you
anybody.
know
Everyone's friend
you are
was
a star? You
asking
are a star
me.
already. Don't you know?
Oh, I was asking, I didn't tell him this, but I guess I don't have any choice.
Okay.
Okay. Honestly, I did feel like I could have done better, but I am so grateful to God for what I got. So I got a 92 in chemistry,
Okay.
I think a 90 in math,
Wow.
which I could have done way better. God, I should have prepared more for math, but either way, a 90, I think a 90 in physics and a 70 in English. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think additionally, she give it 342.
Okay. Now you say you got a 90 in
Math.
maths, right? And that
Yes.
you should have done better,
Way better.
way better.
God.
So if you were given an opportunity now, what would you have done
Ah,
differently that
okay.
you didn't do then to boost your
I focused because I had so many topics I hadn't properly finished in physics and chemistry.
okay?
Devoted most of my time studying for that. So, and I was really good in math. I was excellent at math. Math was one of the subjects that I actually get like what 98 to 100 in. if my mates are saying this, okay, they say 96 to 100. So I was really good. I was confident in my math skills. Let me just put it that way. So obviously, I needed to focus on my weaknesses. You get. So I focused more on my weaknesses, like no, what I say, chemistry and physics weren't my weaknesses, but if I didn't properly prepare for them, I wouldn't have done as well. I loved chemistry and physics, but we hadn't finished all the topics we needed to, and I needed to, and I couldn't wait for us to finish. So I studied by myself. So I think the time I devoted like 70% to math, physics, and English. Then 30% or 10% of my time to math because I was really good. It didn't really need much effort. Like it didn't really need much work because I was already set for math. But I underestimated math. I really underestimated it. There was a particular topic that I didn't really know well. I think there was an advanced formula for mean and media. No, mean, media, and mode. There's like normal formula and then there's the advanced one where you see different things. I can't really explain it right now. So they brought about 3 or 4 questions and I was like, oh my God, this is my unlucky day. Because I hadn't studied for that particular topic. So I think that one made me miss math. And then I was surprisingly nervous, Yema. When I realized that I couldn't solve that question, I was scared. So the nerves really made my confidence go down to yeah, but I'm guessing a 90 is still pretty good because that was like a 35 over 36 over 40, I think. So I only missed about 4 questions. So it was still really good, but like I definitely could have done better. So what I would have done different was don't underestimate any subjects and make sure that I would have probably covered all the years because I didn't cover all the years in math. I covered all the years in other past questions. Even English, God, I love English because I always had a vocabulary builder for English. I feel like I should add that. It's not one of the questions that science chef asked me, but it will help. Do not underestimate English. Everybody does that. Because the English I prepared for in JAM did help me in work because I got an A in work English, which was really hard because we all know how hard it is to get an A in work English. And we were really little, we got an A in work English. So the JAM, the prepping I did help me because I always focused on vocabulary. God, JAM words were so interesting. They were different, they were harder, but they were so interesting. I really loved how much it built my vocabulary. So I think I had a book where I always wrote down new words that I didn't know from JAM. And I always made sure that I practiced them and I knew that meaning and everything. I would even ask my mates to say the words and I would tell them the meaning. Then I always worked on tenses. Like anything you don't know in English, do not underestimate it. People like usually give up on English. Don't, even if your efforts won't get you a 90, which is almost impossible, it will help you one way or the other. If you need more help on how to get a really good score in English sharp, I think I should. I don't really have the audacity to talk since I got a 70, but like if you need any help or any tips, I feel like you should contact Science Jeff. Then I would like, yeah, you'll find me and then I will give you this because this is not the video to talk about it. But like, if you do need help, I can definitely say. And then if you need help in white English, I can't aid you that. So I have the audacity to talk. They really help me that. Just contact Science Jeff and then I'll give advice on that. But I think what I would have done differently for math, which is the focus of this question, was that I would have solved way more questions, way more years, and then I wouldn't have left anything behind. Anything that I wasn't sure of, I wouldn't have left it behind. So practice more past question because I don't think there's anything they would give you that they won't have covered for the last 40 years. It will definitely be something that they will still bring back. So yeah. I think that's it. That's it. But my sister, I don't think I'm an ungrateful child. Oh, she got it 42 and she's still talking. No, but like it's just like I know I could have done better, but I am so grateful to go for what I got. I'm not complaining, but I could have
Wow.
still done more, but I'm not
Yeah.
complaining.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well said. So you're telling us that we shouldn't leave any stone unturned, right? When
Yes,
preparing, and
yes,
also we shouldn't underestimate any subject. We should treat all the subjects
yeah,
equally, right? But you never know where the dice would fall, right?
yes.
All right. Wow. It has been an interesting journey with Halima Onigemo, one of the high scorer in last year's JAM UTME. It has been a pleasure speaking with you, Halima,
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it,
and thank you
honestly.
for thank you for sharing your success secrets with us. I hope that
Yes, ma'am.
viewers who are preparing for JAM have picked one or two things that they can apply in their preparation for the 2024 JAM
Yes,
UTME.
ma'am.
And I hope that they will get
Okay.
the expected result, right? if they
Yes,
follow
sir.
the tips that we've shared with us.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So
I mean, everybody has their own system,
yeah.
but I really hope that the tips I've given you can impact you one way or the other. Yeah.
All right, Halima. We wish you all the best in your current and future endeavors. And we hope that whenever we knock on your doors again, you'll be willing
Thank you, sir.
to
I
open
really
the door
appreciate
for
it.
us and attend to us, right?
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. So
Thank
have a great
you.
day.
You
So
guys should
no
blow this
more.
video up. Share it. I want to be famous,
You
please.
tell them.
I want to be famous. Thank you, sir. I really
All right.
appreciate it.
Yeah, take care, yeah. See ya.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Bye.